Lindsay.
I'm Linda.
David.
John.
Sarah.
And I'm Josh Dahlback, and this is my informative speech. If you want to come over here, you got to show them too. So my informative speech today is going to be about Michael Jordan and his life and his career and everything that he went through in his life, because I think he's the best athlete of any sport of all time. And I'm sure many other people feel the same way. So today I'm going to talk about his pre-NBA obstacles, because even Michael Jordan, the great, his airness, had a lot of things that he had to overcome. I'm also going to talk about his professional career, because he actually dominated the NBA for over a decade, which is pretty crazy. On top of that, we're going to talk about his off-the-court accomplishments, because I know, for example, my mom has purchased me about 100 pair of Jordans, so he definitely has accomplished a lot off the court also. So we'll start with his life. He was born in Brooklyn, New York. A lot of people don't know that. Like David over here. Brooklyn! And his family, while he was young, moved to Wilmington, North Carolina. He actually has 2 older brothers, 1 older sister, and 1 younger sister. In high school, he attended Laney High School. And a lot of people don't know, let's see if anybody here knows who, his name is Clifton Pop Hearing. Anybody know who that is?
No.
He's the coach in high school that actually cut Michael Jordan. So many people don't know that he was cut. He was a sophomore. His best friend, in his book, he talks about how that day he was so excited all day, wanting to go in the locker room and check to see if he made the team. He was with his best friend, and his best friend made it, and he didn't. And he went home and cried all night, and his mom was really upset about that. And then he still wanted to travel with the team and watch him play. So the coach said the only way you can come and watch us play and things like that is you have to carry the bags. So his sophomore year, he had to carry the bags for the team. Somehow that year, between his sophomore and junior year, he grew 6 inches, and he went from 5'10" to like 6'4". And his senior year at Laney High, he averaged a triple-double, which is pretty crazy in points, assists, and rebounds. He then, after college, he went to North Carolina. His freshman year, he averaged 13 points a game, which is very good for a freshman. In the 1982 NCAA championship, he was in the end of the game. It wasn't his shot. Someone else shot and missed. The rebound came out to him, and he had the game-winning shot. So the play wasn't even drawn for him, just something that he accomplished. And he was the ACC Freshman of the Year. Sophomore and junior year, he averaged over 17 points a game. His junior year, he won the Wooden and Naismith Player of the Year award. He actually forfeited his senior year to go into the NBA draft. So he actually didn't finish at that point at North Carolina, but within 2 years, he went back and finished his degree. Something else that was pretty cool. NBA draft, he was drafted with the 3rd pick in 1984 behind Hakeem Olajuwon, who is also a all-star great player. And he was also drafted behind Sam Bowie, who most people don't even know, which is pretty crazy. In his NBA career, the early years, his rookie year, he averaged 28 points a game, which is unbelievable nowadays. Nobody really averages 28 points like he did as a rookie. He actually went to the All-Star game his rookie year, and since so much buzz was all about him, all the veteran players were kind of upset. So players like Isaiah Thomas and other famous players, they actually didn't pass him the ball in the first half, like kind of to go against him. It's pretty messed up. But then he was the Rookie of the Year. His second season, he actually broke his foot and he missed 64 games. But he came back for the playoffs. So he had missed 64 games going to the playoffs. He came back in the playoffs, and versus the Celtics, he scored 63 points, which is still the most points anyone's ever scored in the playoffs. And he scored that his second year with a broken foot. His third season, he scored more than 3,000 points, and he's still only the 2nd player ever to score 3,000 points. That year, he averaged 37 points per game, which is crazy. But they still didn't get through the playoffs. At that point, the team that kept knocking him out was the Detroit Pistons. He led the league in scoring for the next 3 years, but winning MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, but still, the Pistons knocked him out 3 years in a row. His first repeat that he had, which of course is 3 championships in a row, it came against the Lakers, the Trailblazers, and the Suns. A lot of his highlight moments that you can see on YouTube or NBA Classics and all that, one of them was versus the Lakers. It was going against Sam Perkins. That's like the infamous play where he goes up And then as Sam Perkins came up, he went down and came with the other arm, which you can see anywhere on YouTube, I'm sure. Also a highlight versus the Suns. In the first half, he hit 6 3-pointers and had 35 points. And as he's running back after he hit one of the threes, he looked to the scoreboard and kind of shook his shoulders like, I don't know what's going on, I can't miss, which is also pretty cool. And he had 2 consecutive MVP awards. During that period in his career, he led the league in scoring for 7 straight years. Then he had his first retirement. That retirement really came from his father, who was murdered at a rest stop in his car. And they actually Jordan had given his father one of his championship rings, and that was actually stolen. That was one of the reasons they robbed and killed him, was for the ring. So I'm sure Jordan felt pretty bad. So he actually retired due to that. And some of the things that he got from his father, a lot of people don't know, but when Jordan was young and his father used to work out, his father used to always stick his tongue out, and Jordan would make fun of him. So when he was in high school, he started doing that kind of to let his father know in the stance he was thinking about him, and then he just got hooked doing that. So for the rest of his career, whenever he was doing a layup or something, he would always stick his tongue out. So that was from his father. And his father also was more of a baseball fan than basketball. So that's probably why when he retired that first time, he actually went and played minor league baseball. He wore number 45 for the Farm League for the Chicago White Sox. And then he came back, of course. Obviously, baseball, he wasn't as good and as dominant as he was at basketball. So when he came back in '95, he wore number 45 because his number 23 was already retired for the Bulls. So it was already in the rafters, so obviously he couldn't wear it. That year, in the playoffs, he averaged 35 points a game, so obviously he had no rust, but they did lose to the Orlando Magic. The next year, he was right back at form, and he had his second three-peat, where he won 3 more championships in a row. The '96 Bulls team has the best record ever. They were 72-10, only 10 losses all season. The championship he won, the first one of the second three-peat, was versus the Sonics, and that was his first championship since his father's death. And it's another one of just kind of like highlight moments, was when after he won, as soon as they won, he grabbed the game ball and ran off the court, and he was in the locker room on the floor. He had the championship hat on the ball, and he was just crying. And everyone's like going crazy with champagne, and he's just crying. And he said all he was thinking about is how he wished his dad had been at that moment. The second championship was versus the Utah Jazz, and that included the flu game, where he actually was sick. Before the game, they gave him IVs and things like that to make him feel better, and he scored 38 points, which is pretty good, being sick. The next championship versus the Jazz again, which would have been his 6th ring. The final shot, down with 1 point left in the game, down with 1 point with 10 seconds left in the game. He stole the ball from Karl Malone, comes down, does a crossover on, it was Byron Russell, kind of pushed off a little bit, and then won the game. That would have been a great final shot, but of course Jordan came back again after that. Second retirement, during that time,